tonight's webinar, try to replicate this on your own. Try to get the practice in and see if you can do this on your own. I'm going to show you guys a simple workout. I'm taking y'all to the gym. Let's go. Here we go. I'm your gym buddy. I'm your accountability partner. I'm going to show you guys a workout, and I want you to go back to the gym on your own and do this workout again and again and again. So let's do it. Here we go. I'm going to stop sharing. For everyone that is not doing Ramadan, go ahead and just take some water. Make sure you guys are good. Stand up if you need to. We're going to get into the charts. We're going to get into the strategy here. I'm getting low on my water. Okay, let's do it. We're getting into the good stuff. Here comes strategy. All right, give me just a moment. All right, broker statements, minimize, don't need them. Okay. All right. And let me know when you guys can see the charts. Can you guys see Trading View here? All right, sweet. Okay, let's get into it. So I want to give you guys a little bit of context on the pie. Now we're not going to go too beginner. I'm not going to walk you guys through like what a Forex pair is and what it means to trade the US dollar versus the yen and stuff like that. I want you guys to be able to go to the gym and just replicate this workout. So I'm going to keep it as simple as possible so that you can just continue to do this on your own. So you can keep repeating, get the reps in. So I want to give you guys just a quick context, a quick little overview, quick little, not necessarily disclaimer, but just overview. When it comes to this strategy that I'm going to teach you guys, my strategy, I want you to understand that there are a bunch of different pies. So remember we talked about, or cakes, pies, whatever you want to call it. There are different, we'll go with pies. It's the easiest way. It's clicking with me. It's sticking with me. There's a bunch of different pies. But remember we talked about the way to slice it is all personal preference. But we've got multiple pies here. We've got a pie called the stock market. We've got a pie called the Forex market. We've got a pie called the futures market. And we got a pie called the crypto market. All different pies. You can still slice it exactly the same and it's still a pie. So this strategy that I'm going to teach you guys can be applied to any one of the pies. As long as there is a pie, aka as long as there is price movement in a chart, you can apply this strategy. So same for like if you guys were to go to the gym. As long as you have a gym and a squat rack, you can do exactly what I'm going to show you. It could be any gym, anywhere in the world, any squat rack. As long as they have this, you can implement the workout. This is the same for my strategy, same for my system. I know, Jack, I'm hitting this one hard. I'm sorry. But this is, so the system that I'm going to teach you guys can be applied to any pie, aka any market, and any time frame. You can slice it any way you want. So this is the coolest part about this pie. It's very universal. It applies to all markets, all instruments, all time frames. Now, where does the system come into play? So I want you guys to pull up a chart, preferably the same chart so that we can do this together. But then when you go on your own, you can pick any chart you want. You can go to any gym and replicate this. But now I want to give you guys a system or a structure. And this is called top-down analysis. So for those of you guys that are taking notes, write down top-down analysis. This is where it all starts. This is where the system starts, and you can pull up any instrument. You can pull up Bitcoin after tonight. I want you guys to do this with me together, and then you guys can do it on your own with any instrument. So you could pull up Platinum, Roku, which is what we're getting into, Tesla, Apple, Bitcoin, corn, USD JPY, the US dollar versus the yen. You can pull up any chart. But what we're going to do, these steps in this system is all going to be the same. It is very uniform and universal. So top-down analysis is what we're going to learn. What is top-down analysis? That means you're going to look at the pie. So up here is just the different ways to slice the pie. These are called time frames. And these are all the different time frames that we're going to be going over. We've got a monthly time frame, a weekly time frame, a daily time frame, a 4-hour time frame, and a 1-hour time frame. Think of each one of these as just how slim you are slicing the pie. This right here is the pie, the chart. And I may be hitting this pie thing way too hard. I don't know why, but I'm feeling drawn to it. This analogy is speaking to me. But I feel like, and we maybe didn't have too many beginners, so maybe I don't have to keep going with the pie analogy. Maybe most of you guys understand an instrument and a chart, and we can just use regular words here. As long as you have price movement on a chart, you can apply the strategy. Now, where do we start though? There has to be a system that we can repeat and a step-by-step procedure every time we look at a new chart or a new instrument. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to start with the monthly time frame, which is just the whole pie as a whole. I want to see all of the chart, the whole movement, the whole pie, nothing but the pie. We're looking at all of Roku. Now, what does it look like to do a top-down analysis? This is where we will start to mark up our trend lines. So if you guys know this is a trend line trading strategy, we're going to start marking up our trend lines on a monthly time frame at the top. So this is where top-down analysis comes into play. You start at the top, and then we're going to work our way down. So we're going to be drawing trend lines on our chart, each instrument, from the top, and then working our way down. But now, what is the structure and what is the system behind it? The system and the structure, so I'll give you guys the lowdown first before we actually draw them together. Each trend line has to connect to one another. So we can't have any rogue trend lines, no random trend lines. Every single trend line is going to connect to one another. So when the trend lines we draw on the monthly time frame are going to connect to the trend lines that we draw on the weekly time frame, and they're going to connect to the trend lines that we draw on the daily time frame. Every trend line is going to connect to one another. What other guidelines do we have to abide by when we're doing this step-by-step system here? One of the rules that we have to abide by when drawing all these trend lines, one rule, they all have to connect. So if you guys are taking notes, rule number 1 for our trend lines, every trend line has to connect. Rule number 2, price cannot intersect with the trend line. What does that mean? I want to show you guys what not to do. What does it mean? When drawing a trend line, price cannot have poked through. It cannot have intersected. In this example, we have a point A, a point B. Price poked through. This is incorrect. Price cannot have poked through in our trend lines. So these are the 2 guidelines that we need to abide by when doing our top-down analysis. All trend lines have to connect, and price cannot have intersected. Now we're going to do that over and over and over and over again. So we're going to work our way down, Stephanie. So we're at the monthly time frame first. So now what does a correct trend line look like from the top, working our way down? From the top on the monthly time frame, a correct trend line looks like this. We're going to use the ray tool to the left. If you go here, it says ray. I always like to star it, so it's always there. The ray tool. When drawing our first trend line, we are going to start now, when we're drawing our first upward trend line, we're going to start with the lowest point we see on the screen. Lowest possible point we see on the screen, which is right here. That's going to be our point A, our pivot point. Where does our point B go? Our point B has to go on the next lowest point we see on the screen, but price cannot have intersected. If we use this one right here, is this correct or incorrect? Where we have this line. Boom, mark, got it. Incorrect, it's wrong. So we can't use this low. What's the next low that we could use without price intersecting? Let's find the next low that I can use. Boom, here we go. This is the next low that I can use, and price has not intersected. It hasn't crossed through. Amazing. Now we need a downward trend line. We've got an upward. Also, I like to color code my trend lines. So I'm going to go to this toolbox up here. I like making my upward trend lines green and my downward trend lines red. I just like to differentiate the 2. Now let's draw a downward trend line. It's going to be same, but different, opposite here. Instead of looking for the lowest point we see on the screen, we're going to look for the highest point we see on the screen. Highest point we see on the screen here. Boom. And now where do we put our point B? Point A is the pivot point. Point B here, where do we put it? Is it going to be this low? No. Is it going to be this low? No. It's going to be this low right here because price has not intersected. I'm going to make it red. Now, once we have drawn our trend lines on the monthly time frame, we're going to move down. We started at the top. Now we're going to move down. Top-down analysis. You guys following? So started at the monthly. That's the top. Now we're going to work our way down. Question for Mark. We are going to include wicks. But since this is beginner, one thing that I want to preface with you guys too is any information that I don't share with you guys tonight is because it's not needed. So if I take you guys to the gym and I am showing you how to use a machine, and I'm not going to show you how to clean the machine or how to use a different machine. I just want to show you guys the movement. I'm going to show you the movement. I'm not going to show you how it works because you don't need to know. You need to just be able to go to the gym and do your workout on this machine. So same with this strategy. I'm going to show you guys how to use the strategy. If there's anything I don't mention, it's because you don't need to know it to replicate this. So we are on the monthly time frame. We've drawn our first upward trend line and our first downward trend line. Amazing. Now let's work our way down. We're doing top-down analysis. So we started at the monthly. Let's go down to the weekly. Now on the weekly time frame, we need to do the same thing here. So now remember our two rules though. So this is where it's going to feel, maybe it won't feel too fast. All of our trend lines have to connect to one another. And as you move down time frames, you're starting to get more and more and more precise. So the monthly time frame is like the whole pie, and then we go to the weekly. We've just simply cut it in half. Then slimmer and slimmer and slimmer, smaller and smaller slices. As we move to these lower time frames, we start to get more and more and more precise. As you move down to each time frame, you'll also notice that your lines will be a little bit off, a little bit wonky. It's because we're coming in with a magnifying glass, so we're just seeing it from a less broad perspective. So there are going to be times where when you do your top-down analysis and you move from time frame to time frame, monthly, weekly, daily, 4 hour, 1 hour, that you'll have to make some slight adjustments. So in this scenario, price has poked through ever so slightly. It's not the end of the world, but we can just make that slight adjustment here. Boom. Now we have incorporated it. Now, when we come in and draw our next trend line, it has to connect to this very trend line here. When drawing our next trend line, for those of you guys that are taking notes, you can write this one down as well. When drawing new trend lines, your previous touch point will be your new point A. Previous touch point is new point A. So that means the previous most recent touch point on that last line we drew is going to be where we start the new touch point. Previous touch point or previous point B is new point A. So this is where we start the new trend line. We're going to incorporate the same rules here. Where do we put our point B? We've already followed the first rule. The line connects. Now we need to follow the second rule. Price cannot intersect. So if we put it here, it intersects ever so slightly. So we need to move here. Boom. Now we have our second trend line. I'm going to change the color of this one back to green. Boom, there we go. We have just drawn our second trend line. Congratulations, guys. Let's go. We're picking up the momentum. Here we go. Now we need to come in with one more trend line. Let's come in with one more trend line here. So what we're doing essentially is we are tracking price. We're tracking all the movement of the price with our trend lines and coming in more, what's the word I'm looking for? When we're coming into the lower time frames, we're getting more and more precise. So we're just getting more and more precise with how we track the price. We just want to see all of its movement and track as much as we can. Thank you, Robert. Granular is a perfect word. So we just want to track all of the movement of the price with our trend lines as much as we can. So in this time frame, weekly, top down, top monthly, working our way down. We've went from the monthly, now we're at the weekly. Before we move down and continue down, we're going to draw one more upward trend line. We want to capitalize on all of the movement of the price. So we're going to come in with another trend line, and we're going to follow our two rules here. Every trend line has to connect. The previous touch point is the new point A. Boom, here we go. And now where do I draw this line so that price doesn't intersect? Do I use this low? No. Do I use this low? No, no, boom. I'm using this low here. We have just drawn our third trend line together. Amazing. Good job, guys. You're doing great. I promise we're going to get into the entry criteria and exit criteria in just a moment. But how do we know when to get in? Like, how do we get into a trade? How do we get out of a trade? What tells us when to get in? As we are doing this top-down analysis, and the reason we have these rules is exactly why I'm walking you guys through this top-down analysis. It's going to be exactly how we get into our trades and how we get out. So there is a reason we have these guidelines and these rules here. And there's a reason why we do this top-down analysis. So we've done the monthly. We've done the weekly. Let's move into the daily time frame. We're going to continue to work our way down. Monthly, weekly, now let's go to the daily. Remember, as you go down to lower time frames, we're getting a little bit more precise. So we need to slightly modify our lines, just ever so slightly. This one looks a little bit off. There we go. Boom. Now, price is significantly far away from both of these two lines, so that's our indication that we can come in with more lines. Let's just keep going. We're in the daily time frame. Let's come in with some more lines. For the upward trend line, we're going to follow the same system, the same rules that we've been talking about. When we're drawing a steeper trend line or a new trend line, the new point A is the most recent touch point or the previous touch point. New point A, previous point B. They have to connect. When we're drawing our point B, price can't intersect, so it's going to go to this low right here. Amazing. We've done it. Now for our downward trend line. Same concept. Previous point B or previous touch point is our new point A. Boom. Can the line go here? No, price has crossed through. We're going to put the line right here. Now price hasn't intersected, it hasn't crossed through. We're still following our guidelines. And now we can go, this is as far as we can go on the daily time frame. So we're going to continue to go down. Jimmy, we're going to draw another upward trend line when we move down a time frame. When we go to the 4-hour time frame. Now, could you draw one here? Yes. It's not going to be the end of the world. If you drew a steeper trend line right now on the daily, just know that when you go into the 4-hour time frame, it'll probably be slightly off because we're getting a little bit more precise and we can't as clearly see a point A and a point B. So we want to come into a lower time frame to be able to get a clearer view of this pullback. And that may have convinced or complicated things. If it did, don't worry. We're going to continue to do our top-down analysis and we're following all our rules. Just know that it's okay if you draw extra lines on higher time frames. Just know that when you move down to the lower time frames, you'll just have to adjust them. You're just getting a little bit more precise. So now we're in the daily. Let's move to the 4-hour time frame. 4-hour time frame. Now we can just see a little bit more data. We can see a little bit more information. We can see this pullback or this new low a little bit clearer. So now we're going to come in with a steeper upward trend line. Boom. Previous point B is new point A. And where do we put our point B? As long as price has intersected, we're drawing our line right here. I'm going to make it green. All right, now let's move to a 1-hour time frame. We've done as much as we can on the 4-hour. That's as far as we can go. That's as much price action as we have. Blah, 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 blah. Well, we're glitching. We're glitching. It's as much price action as we've got to work with here on the 4-hour time frame. Now we're going to go to the 1-hour. Anna, I already answered that question. Now, 1-hour time frame. We got to make some slight adjustments here because price poked through ever so slightly. 1-hour time frame. We can come in with just yet one more steeper upward trend line. So we're going to do that. The downward trend lines, we don't have anything else to work with. So the downward trend line, that most recent one we drew, is as far as we can go. Previous point B, new point A. Boom, boom. Price hasn't intersected. Now, let's say that the 1-hour time frame is your preferred way to slice the pie. You like the 1-hour time frame. Could you continue your top-down analysis by going from the 1-hour to the 30-minute to the 15-minute to the 5-minute? Yes, you could. That is all your preference. If you prefer trading the 5-minute time frame, you'll continue to do all these steps that we just did, and you'll work your way all the way down to the 5-minute time frame. Some of you guys will enjoy, or your preference will be the 1-hour time frame. So this is where you will stay. You will stop your top-down analysis at your preferred time frame. So we started at the monthly. Maybe some of you guys are daily traders. Maybe some of you guys are holding your trades for months. So you are getting into your positions, or your preferred time frame to trade is the daily. You'll do monthly, weekly, stop at daily. If your preferred time frame or your preferred slice of the pie is the 1-hour, you'll do monthly, weekly, daily, 4-hour, 1-hour. So it's all the same. Adon, I don't have enough time to go through every different time frame, so I'm going to stop here at the 1-hour. But this is where I'm just showing you guys the workout. I want you guys to be able to go to the gym, do this workout yourself again and again and again. Get the reps in. So this is exactly what you're going to do. You start from the top down. This is top-down analysis, and make sure that you follow those guidelines that I gave you guys. Every trend line has to connect, and price cannot intersect. And you will continue to track price steeper and steeper and steeper, all of the movement of the price with our trend lines here. This is what a top-down analysis is. But now what? Now let's get into the actual, when do I get in? When do I get out? How do I know when to get into a position and how do I know when to get out? One of the coolest parts about this strategy is that we do not have to predict or guess. Do you remember the one rule that I gave my strategy? The one rule that I said my entire strategy in a nutshell in 3 words? Boom, Fernando. Follow the price. So we're not guessing when to get in. We're not going to try to predict where the price is going to go. We're just going to follow the price as it moves. Now, once we've done our top-down analysis, this is where we wait for price to tell us exactly when to get in. So I'm going to walk you guys through a few scenarios and through a few examples of what the price of Roku could do. We're not going to try to predict or guess, just pretend as though the price of Roku does these examples so that I can show you guys when to get in, what position to take, when to get out, how long to hold your trade. There's so many decisions that come into trading. It's so easy to complicate the process when you just allow price to tell you when to get in and when to get out. There is zero prediction involved. All the decision making, I don't know if any of you guys have ever experienced girlfriend brain. This strategy is perfect for the girlfriend brain because the decisions have just been narrowed down to where the price is going to tell you exactly when to get in. The price is going to tell you what position to get into as well, either an upward position or a downward position. If some of you guys are very beginner, if some of you guys are pretty experienced, a long position or a short position, you're essentially thinking that the price is going to go up or down. It's going to tell you which position to take, but how? This is where I get hyped. I get so excited, and I'm sorry that I keep doing this. It's a thing that I've learned that's new, and it just means like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So now, how do we know when to get into a position? Let's say the price of Roku moves down. This is also why we have our rules and the guidelines that we follow when doing our top-down analysis. There is a specific reason why we have these rules, is because we allow price to tell us when to get into a position. So why would we make sure the price doesn't intersect? Because we want price to intersect. We want it to do it on its own so that we know what direction to take or what position to take. So as long as we make sure that we do our top-down analysis and price hasn't intersected and they all connect to one another, that means that your system is correct. That means that the steps that you have followed is correct. And now we're just waiting. We're waiting for the price to now break out of one of these 2 lines. We want it to intersect now after we've already done our top-down analysis. So I'm going to walk you guys through some examples here. And then are you guys good to hang on for a little bit later? I know we've already gone an hour and a half. Are you guys good to hang on for a little bit later? Okay. We got an F. Yeah, let's go. Okay, run it. Let's go. We're doing it. My team is hating me right now. I'm sorry, team. Eventually we'll make these shorter, but I'm just not good at it. Okay. All right. So let me just go through, and also you guys can tell I just get really excited about this part. Like the momentum that we have built up. We have just developed the perfect mindset to be able to implement this strategy now. I have given you guys everything you need, all of the tools, the mindset, everything, and now we get into it. It's just my favorite part. I get so excited. Okay, so let's go over some scenarios. You guys know how to do a top-down analysis. We'll also do another example, so not to fret. If you felt lost and you're like, I didn't quite get it, it's all right. I'm going to show you the workout one more time. One more time just to really solidify it. Okay, but let's get into entries and exits. How do we know when to get in and how do we know when to get out? As long as you have done your top-down analysis correctly, the price is going to tell you exactly when and where and for how long to stay in. You can embrace girlfriend braid to the absolute maximum. I know some of y'all guys cannot relate to that, but the decision-making process is narrowed down, essentially, in man terms. Okay, so I'm going to do just a few scenarios, and I'm going to mark up my chart with like these little arrows, and we're going to pretend like that is the movement of the price. So if Roku does X, Y, and Z, some scenarios I'm going to go over, this is how we implement the strategy. This is what position we would take, this is how long we would stay in, and this is when we would get out. So give me just a moment. Go on back here. If the price of Roku continues down, does something like this, the price has now intersected our lines. For everyone that is taking notes, I need you guys to write down 2 terms. When we were doing our top-down analysis, all we had was just upward trend lines and downward trend lines. We have green trend lines, we have red trend lines, we have bullish trend lines, and we have bearish trend lines. Now that price is intersected, this line actually has a name now. Now there is a term that we're going to call this. We're going to give this a title. Michael's already one step ahead. Once price crosses the line, we now give it a name. This is called an action line. So for those of you guys taking notes, write down action line. Write down action line equals the line that got crossed. Or however you want, you can do some spark notes. You can make it your own. When price crosses your line, the line the price intersects, whatever it is. The line that gets broken is the action line. What does action line mean? Action line means it is time to take action. Quite literally, it means it's time to get into a trade. Act now. So now it is time to get into a trade. Price has broke a line. It's time to take action. The line that got broken is the action line. That is telling us to take action to get into a trade. So the coolest part is we don't have to guess when price is going to break the line. We don't know when price is going to break the line. But as soon as it does, it's time to take action. We know it's time to get into a position. But now how do we know if we want to get into a long position or a short position? How do we know if we want to get into a buy, if we want to place a buy order or a sell order? How do we know which one? It depends on which line got broken. So this upward trend line got broken. That's telling us that the price is no longer trending up. It's no longer following along this beautiful upward green line. The price broke it. So that means that we are going to place a sell order. We are going to go short. We're anticipating that the price is going to move lower. So we have I'm sorry, I almost gave the whole sauce away there. So we went over our one term, our action line. Take action, time to get into a trade. The upward trend line that gets broken means that we are taking sell orders. We are going short. But what do we do with the other line? The other line means something. So we've got an upward line that got broken. It now has a name. Now it's an action line. But we need something called a safety line. You guys already know. Listen, you guys already know. Safety line, yes. Okay, thank you. You guys are already on it. The safety line is the line that is truly going to keep us safe. These are very literal terms that I gave these lines here. So we've got action line, time to take action, time to get into a trade. The opposing trend line, the opposite line of the one that got crossed, is now the safety line. That line keeps us safe. For those of you guys that know the trading terms, this is the safety line, aka equals stop loss. Safety line equals risk. This is the line that's going to keep us safe and it's going to allow us to stay in the trade. Yes, George, exactly. So now for those of you guys taking notes, we're going to write down a new term, safety line. Safety line equals, if you're a beginner, write risk. And if you're fairly experienced, write down safety line equals stop loss. They're just one and the same. It's just a type of order. So opposing trend line is the safety line. I know, dude, Dennis is saying I love the language. It's just, I need very literal terms. And the more literal these terms are, the easier it is for me to replicate and do this again and again. So I'm showing you the most basic workout at the gym that you can go back and do yourself. So we've got two terms that we should have written down. Action line, safety line. Action line is the line that gets crossed. Safety line is the opposing trend line that is going to keep us safe. That is our risk. That is our stop loss. How long? Now we're moving on to the next step here. How long do we stay in this trade for? How do we know how long to hold it? Well, guess what? The decision making, we don't have to make ourselves. We're going to allow the price to tell us how long to stay in this trade. Ooh, Dennis, we got an OG over here. Don't know, don't care. How long do we stay in this trade for? We stay in this trade as long as the price respects our safety line. As soon as the price violates the safety line, we are no longer safe. We are in unsafe territory. We are in risky territory. So as long as the price, and I'll show you guys some examples here. As long as the price respects the safety line, we're staying in. So I'm going to go through some examples here. So first, I want us to see that we got into a trade. Price broke. It's time to take action. I'm going to put a little emoji here that says we're placing an order right here. We are taking a sell position. The price broke, we're taking a sell position. We're in. But now how long do we stay in for? How do we know when to close this trade? What if the price moves against us and we're losing money? Oh my God, we're losing money. Oh, okay, we're back to break even. Oh my God, we're losing money again. Do I close because I'm losing money right now? No. Until the price violates, breaks through the safety line, you are staying in your trade. You don't have to make any decisions. You don't have to guess. You are going to allow the price to tell you when to close that trade. This is bringing it full circle to where this entire system is truly just us following the price. So let's say price does something like this. It's moving down. As long as the price respects this safety line, we're making money. We're still in our trade. Even if it does something similar to this, we are staying in that trade. And at this point, we are now making money. We're up. We're profitable. As soon as price violates this line, it's time to close our position. This is when you are done. Your trade is over. Your trade is closed. I'm pulling up my emoji here. Now to close a short position, if you didn't know, you have to place a buy order. You placed a sell order first. Now you have to place a buy order. Now TradingView makes it very easy to where you can just hit the X and your trade is closed. How long do we stay in for? Did we know that the price of Roku was going to do all this and then finally break over here on, Monday?